GG Warriors, I am the Console Warrior, but you can call me Console, and today we are doing another one of these videos where I talk about my thoughts on a certain movie, kind of like a review, but basically I'm going on with what comes to mind at the moment. And today, this is our second video. We're gonna do Super Mario Galaxy the movie, and this is a movie that I was kind of looking forward to, and I was pretty hyped for. I did like the trailers from what we've seen. I was a little disappointed that it was Super Mario Galaxy the movie, but ultimately I was excited. And for those who don't know, I am a big Mario fan. Mario Kart 64 was my first ever game I've ever played, and Super Mario Brothers is probably the oldest video game franchise that I grown up with. And Super Mario Galaxy just happens to be my favorite 3D Mario game. So even though I wasn't like excited that we jumped straight to Mario Galaxy, I was excited to see this movie, you know? But unfortunately, a lot of people are pretty upset with how the movie came out, which is a big difference compared to the first movie. I think a lot of people really liked that movie. Even though it had its flaws, people enjoyed it because it was a movie that was meant for fun. And even though I do like the movie, I was one of those people who wish it could be a little bit more, because like I could like a fun movie, but I also like a little bit of story in my stuff, and I think that's something that the first movie kind of had some issues with. I had a couple of issues with it, and well, I was kind of hoping they fixed it here. And funny enough, I watched a video I made a long time ago talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie in a Smash video, and basically I didn't notice, but I had a lot of issues with the first movie. And personally, I do think this movie, Mario Galaxy, actually fixed a lot of those issues. And well, I want to talk about it. Let's just say my opinion on the Super Mario Galaxy movie is that I actually did really like it. And despite the flaws that this movie has, I do like it a little more than the first one. Mainly because it did fix the issues that I had with it personally. And I think I'm going to talk about that first before I jump into the characters. So let's start off with some of the things that I think they did well and some issues that I think people had with this movie. First one being the pacing, and well, a lot of people didn't like the pacing in this movie either, or this movie, but I don't know, maybe pacing is not exactly the word that I'm looking for, because I personally thought the pacing was fine. The first movie had these issues where they kind of like they tried to move the plot as fast as possible, and it didn't really feel like like it was earned. Like it just felt like they tried to just keep going until move the plot as quickly as possible. Here, it might be a little bit of the opposite, but it also just felt like a natural progression, unlike the first movie. The first movie had the Mario vs. Donkey Kong fight. That was a really cool fight, but I was a little disappointed that Mario managed to win with just power-ups. I mean, Donkey Kong basically got Mario Karted, which is funny to think about, but I wasn't a fan of that because it didn't feel like Mario earned that fight where it should have had. Mario and Peach's relationship kind of, I think Peach trusted Mario a little too quickly, which also felt a little rushed. And, oh yeah, the scene where Toad gives Peach the ice flower to help her deal with Bowser, that one I felt was very rushed. I feel like they could have explained that a little more. Maybe we could have gotten a little action scene with Toad. But for this movie, the Mario Galaxy movie, I feel like they fixed that, because every time the plot moved forward, it felt like natural, right? It felt kind of earned. I think the only thing I'm a little iffy on is probably the ending fight, where Mario gets Yoshi and Luigi comes in and gets the power-ups, right, for Mario, and it kind of felt nice there. But I think the only way I could say my argument here is a little flawed here, maybe because they still get random power-ups, but for some reason it still felt earned compared to that one, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Luigi and Yoshi, we knew they were coming, so them having power-ups is fine, but it didn't feel like the power-ups specifically is what made Mario win. If anything, it was something else. I don't know. Maybe that's something that this movie that's one issue that this movie had that the first movie had too. But I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it compared to the Mario Galaxy movie for some reason. But I think there are a couple of scenes that I do think are understandable, and I think this is another where I think people have a problem with the pacing, whereas the beginning of the movie where Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi were doing stuff for the Mushroom Kingdom, you pretty much didn't need to do that. The second part where Yoshi has to protect the babies, or technically Yoshi and Toad, that one I especially think that was like, that didn't need to happen. I didn't mind the Mushroom Kingdom saving thing first, but the Yoshi one definitely didn't need to happen. They could just take that out completely. And I feel like you could say the same thing about the Mushroom Kingdom one, but for some reason, it was fine. It was short. It was very short, and I feel like it kind of made sense. But I think they could have like done this a little better. Maybe instead, I don't know, maybe they could have gone into space too, and then had to split up or something. But I don't know. Well, I think I'll get to that later. And then the last part I think definitely had an issue with was the ending. And I think, again, the fight felt like a good conclusion. It was more of what happened after the fight when they came back and saw the castle was missing. And they were like, let's build it. And it just had this weird, like, cheap animation of like Mario video games, specifically the Super Mario World sprite animation. It did not look good. I feel like maybe that could have been, you know, done a little better. I think they could have like maybe added more moments and stuff to make that feel, it just felt very rushed there. Like they just added that there for the sake of referencing the games, and it just didn't work for me. But other than that, I thought the pacing was fine. I thought those moments, like there were some like unnecessary moments, but I feel but they were short at least, you know what I mean? They weren't really big issues for me. So ultimately though, I do think it managed to fix a lot of the first movies while still having some issues that it has here, and that's something I want to explain when talking about the characters. I think it did have those issues, and I want to be able to talk about that. But I will say the music sounded great. The action was great. I think some people are comparing some of the scenes to Super Mario Bros. Z, which I don't know if I noticed that at first. I don't even know if I could see it, but like I think that's kind of cool. I think there's a lot of references that fan animation's kind of been referenced in this movie too, and I don't think people put attention to that. Just don't tell Nintendo, I think they'll have a problem with it. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off by talking about the characters. So first, let's talk about Mr. Video Game himself, Mario. Now in the first movie, I really did like him a lot. He was actually my favorite character, and you know, I feel like your main character should be, you know, very good. I feel like he is he is the story, right? And I liked the character development that he had. It was very simple, and that's the thing I liked about the first movie the most. It made me really like Mario, made him feel relatable, and honestly, I think this movie kind of fails. In this movie, Mario didn't really feel like he had a character arc, or maybe he was going somewhere, but I don't really know where else to go here, you know what I mean? I guess it was a bit with his relationship with Bowser, which I think is the best thing they could do, because in the first movie, Mario and Bowser didn't really interact with each other that much, which is fine. I think how they did it was actually pretty cool. But here, now we can actually see Mario and Bowser interacting with a lot of things. And Mario was acting kind of a hater, and if you watch my trailer reaction for that specific scene, I actually really like Hater Mario. I think the way he's acting is very justified. And he's not acting like a bad guy either. I think he has every reason to act the way he is and not like Bowser. I mean, Bowser basically tried to kill him, threaten his brother, and currently trying to steal his girl, the girl that he liked, which is Peach. I think Mario has every reason to not like him, and he's doing it in a very untoxic way, and I think that's something I like. But I didn't really feel like it was going anywhere, you know what I mean? I think maybe near the end, Mario does do something for Bowser, and it really shows how much of a hero Mario actually is, right? And I feel like maybe that's what they were trying to go for a character arc, but I don't know, it didn't seem like there was anything there, and honestly, I think they could have built more about it. But ultimately, I really do like Mario. Again, he's still pretty good. I'm one of the few people who is okay with Chris Pratt. He's not my favorite, like, I think they could definitely do better, but I actually don't hate it either, like some people do. But I don't know, I think that's really it. Mario was a nice guy. He had every reason to not like Bowser. He had some moments with Peach, which actually was great. I think Mario and Peach's relationship is really good. I think in the first movie, they didn't really like have a like had an interest, but there wasn't really anything there that made me feel, oh yeah, there's some romance here. It just seems like friends being friends. But here now it feels like pretty obvious that Mario wants to be with Peach, and how they handled it was pretty good. It wasn't, again, anything like a character arc, anything. It was like, again, it was more like Mario being a good friend, being supportive, and occasionally getting awkward moments, which were kind of funny. But again, nothing really important. And personally, that's not the issue specifically with this character arc. If this is a character arc. If it's not a character arc and it's just silly moments, and okay, I'll take it, but like it really did feel like they were trying to go for something here. And that's where we get to our next character that I will be talking about, and that is Bowser. Bowser was pretty good, but I think he's definitely a little more flawed than Mario, and he's basically why I think this whole arc that these two are getting didn't really feel good. So Bowser, while technically was he was being a little toxic, but he was trying, you know. I think that's important, and I think that makes sense too. And there were some really funny moments here, but then there's this one scene that I think I'm not sure if I believed him or not. Let's just say I wasn't sure if I wanted to believe if Bowser was turning good. I think he was trying, sure, but then there were some scenes that were kind of weird and makes me think, why, like, was he trying? So basically, when Mario, Bowser, and the other boys come in, and Luigi's being a cool wingman, trying to help Bowser, you know, make Mario like him, which is really cute, right? I like their relationship a lot until a certain scene, but which is honestly not as big of a deal as I'm hinting it to be, honestly. But basically, Bowser's trying to, you know, convince Mario to make him big again. At first, it was like, okay, not that bad. But then Mario understandably says no, but then Bowser tries to rage bait him, and this is where it gets a little weird. So anyways, Bowser successfully rage baits him, and he gets bigger. And I'm like, okay, this is the part where I think I could have, think Bowser was up to something. Maybe he wasn't, again, I still think he was trying to, but here, it just, I don't know, you could argue that maybe he was being a little sneaky. Oh! And he was trying to run away when he actually got out of the castle, which wasn't even his fault. So that's another thing. So I don't know. Again, I think Mario has every reason to not trust Bowser, and I don't think he should have trusted him anyways. I think maybe they could have done this better, maybe. But basically, Bowser comes out, he gets bigger, and when you think he's gonna do something bad, he gives him a big smooch, and then he's like, yeah! And I think that's where I kind of got fooled by Bowser. Again, I don't know if he was trying to trick him, but there was plenty of evidence that he was trying to escape and stuff. Like, he wasn't going to respect their things, and I feel like that's a red flag. But him getting excited and wanting to team up actually made me kind of hype, and I kind of want to see more of that. And then later on, he sacrificed himself for the Queen Bee, and goes to prison while sending Mario and the others to help Peach. And I kind of like that, but immediately after, Bowser gets taken by Bowser Jr., and Bowser Jr. basically convinces him that, hey, you're not a good guy. You're not like the Mario Brothers that they said. And I feel like they kind of, that's where I feel like that character arc kind of just fell apart, because it felt like it went nowhere. I know some people like the scene because it makes Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship, it's kind of wholesome, and it's a unique negative arc, particularly the idea of the son convincing Bowser to be bad again. That I feel like that's something that we don't normally see. But again, and it's kind of cute. I think the relationship is really good. I like Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship, but it just again, it just felt like you kind of build up to nothing, and it just felt flat. Maybe this is where Mario actually does something kind of where he's the bad guy. Maybe he does something that hurts Bowser Jr. that ultimately gets Bowser angry. I think that would be more necessary, and then maybe Mario could be the big jerk here. But again, Mario was never really the bad guy here, so I don't know what he could have done here, and then Bowser just becomes the villain again. Of course, I think the trailer pretty much spoils that he's going to be the villain again, and, well, ultimately, it just didn't feel like they went with it, and I don't know, that's my main issue with Bowser particularly. but his relationships with Luigi was pretty cute. I like that a lot. But unfortunately, he's like, you made me go into book clubs. Like, that was one of his reasons why he didn't like Mario and Peach anymore. And I'm like, man, Luigi's gonna feel very upset about that. How dare you, man? Why would you do that to my favorite character, Bowser? I thought you guys were cool. But his relationship with Bowser Jr. was pretty cute. There was a puppet show that he did, which is also very funny. Also, that Chef Pee Pee reference was hilarious. I was not expecting that. But ultimately, I think his relationships with Luigi and Bowser Jr. are pretty good. We didn't get a lot of Peach and Bowser, which is pretty interesting. Except for near the end, but even then, it kind of moved on from Peach. It didn't really have anything with it, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, they had a lot of moments in the first movie, so I think it's fine. But ultimately, I think Bowser definitely fell flat. Mario was okay. Bowser had some problems, and really, that's the main issue I have with the Galaxy movie, for the most part. Because that's one thing I liked about the first movie. Yeah, sure, Mario's character arc was pretty simple, but it was still kind of cool. It was still like, I felt something with that. And I'm not expecting it to be like anything big either. Yeah, sure, give them basic character arcs. It doesn't have to be complex or very unique anyways. I think this is fine, but this one, it just... I wish there was a little more. I was excited to see Mario and Bowser team up, and then it didn't do anything with that. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on Bowser. So for the next character, we could talk about Luigi. Let's just get him out of the way. Luigi was good. I like Luigi a lot. His relationship with his brother and Bowser was kind of sweet, but he didn't really do a lot either in this movie. Maybe that's why it's called the Super Mario Galaxy movie, not the Super Mario Brothers 2. But I think for a character arc, I think he did kind of have something in the first movie. But in this one, he was just along for the ride, and that's fine. He doesn't need to have a character arc not every character needs to have a character arc. Having some characters have a flat arc is fine. The fact that he's with Mario and doing stuff with him was really cool, and that's one of the things why I didn't mind the bros saving the Mushroom Kingdom thing while Peach was gone scene, because we got to see a lot of cool moments, even if they were kind of just references and stuff. So I didn't really mind Luigi. I also like how much of a wingman he was to Mario and Bowser, especially towards Mario, and I like the little scene where he says, like, he's so confident in Mario. He loves him, man. I think that's like the best thing about these movies in general. Seeing Luigi and Mario just, be happy that they're together again in the first movie, and seeing them do the head touch stuff, that was such a wholesome scene. And I just can tell, not only does Luigi have so much confidence in his brother, but he seems so confident with the girls himself. Like, what does that really say? You think that maybe when he gets with, once he gets with, I don't know, Daisy, I think they're gonna get with Daisy, because there was something that in this movie that kind of felt weird with another character, because they kind of seemed like that character was what Luigi was referring to near the end of the movie. But like, maybe when he gets with Daisy, maybe his Riz is really good. I'm just saying, he probably has like the best Riz. I think it'd be really funny though, if Daisy didn't even give it a chance to do it. Like, we don't even get to see it. Maybe, I don't know, it makes kind of think of it'd be even funnier, but probably not the best direction, if Daisy ends up being kind of like Amy, and instead Luigi doesn't like Daisy that much. I think that would be kind of funny, but I could also see that, like, Luigi and Daisy, imagine if they just get along and there's literally no character arc for it. It's just, like, they actually have very good synergy. I think that would be funny, too. But ultimately, I think that's it for Luigi. But let's talk about the next green guy. There's 3 green guys in this movie, and that would be Yoshi. And Yoshi was pretty good. Like Luigi, he didn't really feel like he had a character arc, which, I don't know. I feel like maybe I could have wanted that a little more. Maybe he could have had a much more important role, but he was, again, just there for the ride. And I don't know, I don't really have a problem with Yoshi particularly. Honestly, I would even say I don't have much to talk about. Personally, Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi together, it was probably one of the best parts of the movie. And it reminded me of Sonic Heroes. It makes me think of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. This is the Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles of the Mario games. These are the Mario Heroes. And again, I really like Yoshi a lot in here, but I think maybe we could have seen more about Yoshi doing something. He just, again, was kind of there. Maybe he was kind of a comic relief or something, but ultimately he didn't really do anything crazy. And, well, his voice, Donald Glover did a good job. I do have a bit of problems with it, but when you compare it to the rest of the cast, it's not a big deal. At least he sounds like Yoshi. So he was pretty good too. He had some very funny moments, especially with Luigi. I liked him a lot. I'm kind of wondering though, like, I kind of wanted to see a Yoshi movie, but he doesn't really talk in this movie. And it makes me wonder, how would they even do a Yoshi movie? So, and I don't even think they want to. They made it, again, that whole scene with Yoshi and Toad protecting the babies, it made me think that they have no interest of a Yoshi's Island movie. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's for the best. It didn't need to happen, but maybe it's for the best, you know? But he does talk a bit. I think he does have a few words other than Yoshi. I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't have mind if he talked a little bit. He does talk in Super Mario World and Super Mario Galaxy 2. But ultimately, I don't know. I wouldn't have minded, just as long as he's not talking too much and isn't super annoying. But that's it. That's really it. I have to talk about Yoshi. It's kind of crazy. But then let's talk about Toad next. So Toad was the character I was kind of most interested in the first movie. I really like what they were going for because, you know, most of the time Toads are usually pretty cowardly, but this version of Toad is actually pretty brave and also a little weird and maybe unhinged. I don't know if unhinged is the right word. But unfortunately, he didn't really feel like he did all that much in the first movie. And again, that whole scene where Toad gives Peach the ice flower to stop Bowser, that's something they could have done. They could have had him escape and get that thing for her, but no, he just randomly gets it. So I was kind of hoping we get to see a little more in this movie, although at the same time, I don't really know what they could do with him really, but other than the whole scene with Yoshi, where he's like, oh, getting a little jealous. And, well, I'm just gonna say right now, that scene mattered nothing. Like, it didn't do anything. Like, they were gonna, it seemed like they were gonna do something with this character, with Yoshi, but it basically stopped mattering after Yoshi came back. After the Mario Bros and Yoshi finally found Peach and Toad, that was it. Like, he just got annoyed one more time and then bam, there was nothing else. So what was the point of that? I think, I'm gonna say right now, Toad is the worst character in these movies, and that kind of makes me upset. He was definitely a decent comic relief, sure, but I really hate that they keep building him up, or at least, you know, just having him there, basically. But, oh, yeah, I think, yeah, Toad is kind of disappointing overall. And I'm not expecting him to be good in the third movie, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not looking forward to him. I don't hate him as a person. Again, he is pretty funny, but I would have liked to see a little more with this guy, you know what I mean? And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing this portrayal of Toad in the games, too. Wait a minute, I just realized something. This is basically Captain Toad, right? And they don't do anything with that either. He just has a backpack. Well, he always had a backpack. He just has the cap. Like, they don't even do anything with that. Wait a minute. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not a fan of Toad. I think Toad is the most disappointing one. What's the next one? Let's go with Fox. So, yeah, Fox. So, yeah, just like Mario, I kind of grew up with Star Fox. I wasn't as big with Mario, but Star Fox is, I'm a small fan, and Fox is probably one of my favorite Nintendo characters of all time. Maybe not as high as Luigi, but Fox, I was excited to see this movie, but I was disappointed that they spoiled it in the posters, basically. He wasn't even in the theaters. You know how cool of a reaction that would have been? I probably would have gotten views from that, I don't know. But either way, like, Nintendo and Illumination really made a bad decision here by just revealing him in just some random poster when he should have just been kept a secret the entire time until this movie, man. And I gotta say, Glenn Powell does an amazing job. He is a good voice for Fox. Apparently Fox wasn't supposed to be in this movie, but he wanted a Star Fox movie so badly that he wanted to go convince Nintendo and Illumination for him to be put in there, and I think that's awesome. If we can get a Star Fox movie, that'd be awesome, but personally, I just would be happy just getting a Star Fox game. I don't know if they'll do it, but I don't know, man. Glenn Powell, you're doing Nintendo's work, I'm just gonna be honest. And he was pretty good in the movie. he was very good in this movie. I will say that when I saw his design on the poster, I was a little... I didn't like how big his head looked, but in the movie, it looked pretty good. I think it was alright. He looked like an Illumination character, and it's fine. I actually think how his looks works with the movie. I think he fits in, and it doesn't look too big. But personality-wise, I really liked how they did it. It made him seem like he's the coolest guy in the universe, and especially because Toad says it out loud, saying he's like the coolest character he's ever met. And I think that's really cool. He was somewhat cocky, very confident. He's just... I don't know, man. It was so good. I will say I think he's a little cockier than his game counterpart. I know Game Fox can be cocky, but when I think of that version of Fox, I think of Star Fox Adventure specifically. Because I don't remember, I think in Star Fox 64, and especially Assault, he was more serious, but he had his cocky moments here and there, you know what I mean? But I'm going to say it's not that bad. I think how he's portrayed is okay here. Overall, I think he was very funny, he was very cool, and honestly, I would have been really happy to see him if I wasn't revealed on that, from those posters, really. And he had a pretty good amount of screen time, in my opinion. I know I'm a Star Fox fan, so of course I'm going to be happy with him compared to like some other people, but I generally think he was actually pretty good. Apparently people were complaining how he took up too much space, whereas every other characters did. I remember seeing this one post talking about, it was a Family Guy bit where this one guy was eating all the food, and then all the kids and the wife was like, can we eat please? And he's like, no, wait till I'm finished. And he's like, but there's rarely any left. And it was Fox. Fox was eating all the food with Yoshi, Queen Bee, or whatever her name was, and a third character. And I don't know, Yoshi felt like he had a very good amount of screen time. He was like in every scene Mario and Luigi was in, except for like 2 scenes, if I'm remembering correctly. He was pretty much everywhere, and he had his own scene. I don't think Yoshi didn't have enough screen time. He had a lot of screen time. He was fine. He just needed more of a character, basically. As for Queen Bee, I don't know who is excited for Queen Bee. I was not expecting this character to be important, and nor do I really care, but yeah, that's, I don't agree with this at all. There's only one character I think fits this meme, and, well, we'll get to her later. But ultimately, I think Fox had a great screen time. Basically, he came in, gave some exposition of who the Star Fox team is. Apparently he's from another universe. Had a R-Wing fight scene, which was pretty cool. And then he had another R-Wing fight scene, which was also very short, and that was it. He had a decent amount of screen time. Enough for a guest character, actually. I think he was totally fine, and I loved every moment of it. But yeah, I don't know what else I could say here. He felt like he had enough screen time, and had some really cool scenes that would definitely make every Star Fox fan happy. I've been seeing a lot more people drawing art of this guy too, so that's nice to see. Again, I'm really hoping Nintendo makes that Star Fox game. But yeah, let's go ahead and go for our next character, and I think... Oh, let's talk about the Queen Bee. I forget what the name is. Is it Queen Bee? Basically, Queen Bee was alright, but she did feel out of character. I know Queen Bee didn't have a lot of personality in the games, but she seemed pretty happy. Your stereotypical British queen royalty character, very cheerful, all happy, just an overall kind bee. But in this movie, she was pretty mean. Again, she only had one scene, and I don't even know why they built up the whole thing with her actor at the time. But she was yeah, sure. I get why she was mad at the bros and the whole gang. Really, they basically damaged a big chunk of their planet. I don't know how else to explain it, but like the way she acted, just overall, just felt like that was just who she was. She didn't have a reason to get mad at them, and they revealed this one of the bugs that's even in the games. It's like, this miserable creature will be your ride, and I was like, and the bug looks super sad, and I was like, what? But yeah, that's pretty much it for Queen Bee. I don't know, man, like, that's not Queen Bee to me, but that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, Bowser Jr., that's the next character I want to talk about. And, well, in the first movie, I personally felt like Bowser wasn't like that intimidating. I wish we got more intimidating scenes, that make him actually kind of scary, right? I think I said that in my my thoughts video on when I was playing Smash that other day, when the movie came out, of course. But Bowser Jr., jeez, he was actually terrifying. Like, Mario could have died if he didn't, like, after a few scenes. This guy was deadly, dude. Bowser, like, I could tell this guy, Bowser is a big brute guy. Bowser Jr., he's like a karate master. He's swift, he's fast. Even though he's not that much bigger from Mario and Luigi, honestly, it felt more like he was a threat compared to his dad, and I think it's pretty cool. Like, he had an axe and all that stuff, and of course he was a tech genius, but Bowser Jr. is broken. Like, he's kind of OP. I mean, again, Mario and Luigi at least seemed like they could have, like, done something against him, but Bowser, they couldn't stop Bowser until they grabbed the star, which is funny. So, I don't know, Bowser Jr. looked threatening, and yet somehow I actually felt, like, worried and scared for Mario and Luigi. They could have died any second. Overall, I thought his character was pretty good. They managed to explain why he wasn't in the first movie, which is something that I was interested in. But they still haven't gave us the answer of who his mom was, because that's a long-running answer that we have been wondering. But yeah, I think that was pretty good. Kamek had some good moments in here. I think it's really funny how Bowser and Bowser Jr. kind of like got annoyed every time he got in here, so they have something in common. And Benny Safdie, I think he had a good voice. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of Benny Safdie's voice when I heard it, but when he's trying to act like a kid, like, you know, happy to see his papa or stuff, he sounded really good. When he was trying to, like, you know, act all tough and scary, ooh, Bowser Jr. is back and, you know, all that stuff, it didn't feel right, but when he was actually sounding like a kid, I actually really liked it, so that surprised me a lot. And I really do like how smart this guy is. He was pretty much controlling all of the machines. I mean, Bowser's the bronze, Bowser Jr. is the brains, and that's very fitting. And there was a cool scene where Bowser and Bowser Jr. were like trying to stop Mario and Luigi, and it was like a Mario Maker scene. I didn't really realize that, and there was even a pun. There was a few puns in this movie, but I didn't realize that this is basically Mario Maker right here. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. He's pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the next character in the movie, and that is Peach. I know I've been holding Peach off pretty late. Like, usually you think I would talk about her earlier, but there is a reason, because again, the tension of the first movie was probably more on Mario and Luigi, and Peach had something kind of interesting. Even though I'm not the fan of making her this OP kung fu, you know, cool female character, I still was pretty interesting, and they managed to build up onto this movie, which makes her pretty much the main character of this entire film, in my opinion. If not Mario, it's definitely Peach. Again, another reason why it's not called the Super Mario Brothers movie, because it's more about Peach, and I don't mind that at all. And I really liked her at the beginning. Again, they seemed like they were building more to that and stuff. So I think that's really cool. The weird part though is, and you know, she did have a lot of moments too. I like that Toad was with her, even though Toad didn't really do much. She had some scenes, especially with Wart, which I'll probably get to later. I almost forgot about him. I don't know, I really liked Peach, but I also do feel like this is another character where I feel like their arc didn't really do anything. I don't know, maybe she didn't get an arc, but I don't know. I think Peach was fine. I don't think I particularly have a problem with how she is as a character, development-wise. Maybe I'm trying to figure out what exactly, if I even had a problem with it, because I feel like it was another thing that was built up and didn't really matter, you know? But again, I do like how she was handled. I like how Mario pretty much, you know, locked her inside so he can stop Bowser and Bowser Jr. alone to rescue the you-know-who. But yeah, I think, yeah, she was good. But the big reveal I was not expecting was probably Peach being Rosalina's sister. Now, a lot of people seem to have a lot of problems with this scene. I think Sonic fans especially didn't have had a problem with it. I think they're making fun of it. And if you don't know, there's this whole Mario and Sonic war that between the movies of which was better, and I think that's partially why. I'm not gonna lie. As a Rosalina fan, personally, I don't really mind this decision. I don't think it's completely inaccurate. MatPat basically made a theory on this, showing a lot of evidence that this is true. It's just his theory was kind of weird, but I don't know. I think this could work. My main issue is that it didn't really. There was a couple of issues actually. Peach and Rosalina, I didn't really see a character between them. Like maybe we could have gotten more moments with her, right, to make this feel more meaningful towards these two characters. But that's pretty much it. But I didn't mind having Peach and Rosalina being sisters. But you know what? Now that we're on the topic, let's go ahead and talk about Rosalina, which is probably the biggest issue in this entire film, really. That meme about the Family Guy thing with Fox eating all the food. Yeah, that third character was Rosalina, and I think that's probably the most justified that people are angry about this movie. Rosalina was really bad, I'll say that. And it's really weird because they made her OP again. Another princess female character being OP. And people, like, I know people were excited that, like, some people were happy to see that Peach wasn't being kidnapped. But then this character gets kidnapped. So the whole thing that people were excited before doesn't matter here. And I'm like, what? And yeah, that's pretty much it. She has a little fight scene, and then she gets kidnapped, and that's it. That's all you need to know about Rosalina, which is pretty bad. And yeah, sure, I get that Rosalina didn't really do too much in the movie and the game specifically. She didn't do much, so maybe not having her do much here wasn't a bad thing. It's just, why did she have to get kidnapped? If anything, I think it'd be kind of cool if Rosalina helped Mario and Luigi get off the island so they can go find Peach afterward. But the main thing I think Rosalina has, again, I don't mind this as a canon thing. If this was canon, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's not canon, so you could probably just ignore it, sure. But at the same time, I still think that doesn't make it better either. Because the main thing that people love Rosalina, including myself, was her backstory. She had such a good backstory that wasn't really meant to be there in the first place until someone decided to make a backstory for her. I don't know how to explain it though. Until someone made that backstory and they were like, wow, this is so cool, let's put it in the game. And that's why Rosalina was so popular. And I feel like even if it is meant to be in different universe or a different canon, that is what makes Rosalina such a popular character, and that's what you cannot mess up. So that's what they should have done. I think the whole thing about Peach being a sister isn't a bad thing, but it should have been more built on Rosalina's backstory back then, you know what I mean? And again, I think having Rosalina be with Mario and Luigi and Yoshi would have been a much better decision to make her, even if she isn't that important. And then they can go rescue Peach or help her out when she needs it, instead of just making her the damsel in distress. But yeah, don't know what they were trying to do with this backstory specifically. Basically, in this one, Rosalina and Peach were sisters, and then she saw a bright pink light, and she was so scared that she said, "Oh shoot, I gotta throw my sister in the garbage disposal." And like, that's it. What? Like, we didn't even see who the bad guy was. You know what I mean? That could have been the main villain. But you know, Bowser Jr. I mean, like, I don't know. Rosalina was definitely the worst part of this movie, and I don't know what they're trying to go for, especially as a Galaxy fan and a Rosalina fan. I really think this is not good. All right, that's all I could say with this guy. I don't even know what they'll do in the next movie too. That's the thing. Will she be important? Who knows? Also, before I forget, I thought Wart was pretty good. Not the first choice for his voice, but I think it works really well. My only problem is that we didn't really get to see him do anything other than talk. Like, I would have liked to see him fight. Maybe actually give Peach a bit of a challenge, you know? Well, we do have one more thing to talk about. Basically two more, and that's the after credit scene. And in the after credit scene, we got to see Daisy, which, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Daisy. I think she's my least favorite out of the three princesses. Maybe fourth if you consider Pauline. I think if they showed Wario, I was expecting Wario, and I was hoping to see him. I'm hoping he's the next villain for the next movie. But I think I also would have been cool to see Donkey Kong. Because again, Donkey Kong wasn't in this movie, But at the same time, I wasn't really, like, I didn't have a problem with him. He doesn't need to be in this movie. He was in the first movie, and I think having his own Donkey Kong series would have been cool. I think that would be cool. Like, imagine, just, we see Donkey Kong, you know, just eating his bananas, and then we get to see Diddy come in, and he has a voice and stuff, and they're, like, hinting the main baddie or something, like, oh, no. Like, that would have been really cool, you know? I'm like, that's like the next movie I want to see it. If anyone is going to get their own spin-off movie, it has to be Donkey Kong. But Daisy, she's okay. I think, like, I don't know, the whole OP princess thing, I think fits Daisy more than Peach. But I don't even know what they'll do with her. I'm pretty convinced Rosalina's not going to be in this movie. As for who will they, like, not include in this movie as well, because I feel like there's gonna be too many characters. Personally, I think the best characters to remove is Bowser and Bowser Jr. Because if Wario's gonna be the main villain, why do we need Bowser and Bowser Jr.? I think it's fine. Maybe they'll come back later, but I think that's what you should remove, because I don't want them to remove Yoshi. I definitely don't want them to remove Toad. And they're probably just gonna remove Rosalina because, like, they didn't do anything with her, and I don't know why they would bring her back anyways. But yeah, that's what I would do, you know? Of course, I don't think it's gonna happen because they're probably gonna be weird. It went from Super Mario Brothers to Galaxy. We're probably gonna get Mario 64, just like that. It's just gonna be so weird, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. I thought Mario was good. Bowser had its problems, but I did like him. Or Luigi was okay. Yoshi was okay. Fox was amazing. Toad was disappointing. Peach was okay, and Rosalina was terrible. Am I missing anyone? Oh, Bowser Jr. He was good. He was great. I liked him a lot. And overall, I enjoyed the movie a lot. There were some... Again, it fixed the first movie's issues, but it also had its boat show to other ones, and I don't know. If I prefer the pacing that this movie had over the good character development that the first movie had, or at least, you know, the one that it, you know, the decent ones that it had. I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Mario Galaxy movie. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know in the comments. Like, it's, yeah, ultimately, I think both sides are right to feel these ways, right? It was a fun movie, which lacked the story elements that made a movie. And I think that's okay. And if you don't like it for that, that's okay too. But yeah, with that said, I am the Console Warrior, and I hope to see you guys next time. See ya.